Hello ladies and gentlemen and welcome to MTG Foil. Today I've got an awesome deck. It's the CoCo Goblins Remastered. With the new Ravnica set with Gruul cards. There are a lot of cards to improve the old CoCo Collected Company Goblin deck. So let me just jump right into this. Fun part about this deck is I made it a little bit to make it hard for control players to counter this deck. And how did I do this? I already said Gruul, so you probably already understand that I'm running red and green mana and a lot of goblins. So with the mana base, I'm gonna start with Rootbound Greg. It comes into play tapped unless you've got a red mountain or a green forest. So 4 off, because we're running a lot of them, there's a little chance that it will come into play tapped, unless you're gonna play it turn 1. So a 4 off and 2 basic forest. Basic land, forest, 2 off, nothing special. Then I've got, let me see here, 4 mountains, 4 basic mountains, nothing special about that. And I've got 4 stomping grounds. Stomping grounds comes into play tapped unless you pay 2 lives. Yeah, you're probably gonna pay 2 lives because it's a really fast deck. If you can get this out in turn 1, it's really amazing. How to do that? We're gonna do that with wooden foothills. If this with this card you can pay with 1 life and search for a mountain or a forest. So mountain, forest, you can fetch up your stomping ground or if necessary something else. So easy to get red and green mana at the same time on the battlefield ASAP. And I've got 2 Cavern of Souls, only 2 off and not 4. We're running only goblins, but it has to do with the 8 instants that we're playing as well. So to minimize the risk of not be able to playing the instants, I've chosen to use only 2 Cavern of Souls. So 20 lands, yeah, not a lot of basic lands, but quite enough to avoid an annoying card like, for example, a Blood Moon. So 20 mana, 20 lands, nothing special about it. And then we're gonna go right into the deck tech. We start with the 1-drop goblins. Of course, we running the best goblin out there, Legion or Loyalists. We're gonna run 4 of them. Amazing about this one, it has haste and it gives all your other goblin, yeah, well, when you're attacking with 2 other goblins, it gives them first strike, trample, and it makes sure that all your goblins can't be blocked by tokens. So really amazing card, 4 off, and why it's so important I'm gonna show you on later on. And then to make the deck fast, I'm running 3 Skirk Prospectors to hasten the process to get expensive cards out. Skirk Prospector costs 1 red mana and you can sacrifice any goblin to add 1 red mana to your mana pool. So 3 of these, it's as well a 1/1 goblin. So. And that were already the 1-drops, and then we're gonna go to the 2-drops. Here we've got Goblin Pile Driver. It costs 1 red mana, 1 colorless mana, protection from blue, really good versus control players, because if they want to flash in a Clique or a Snapcaster, they cannot block it. Plus it gets +2/+0 for each other goblin attacking with Goblin Pile Driver this turn. So it grows really fast. Yeah, and with Cavern of Souls out, all these creatures can't be countered. So really nice. So basically it stays out of the control range. Really nice card. A 3 off, it's already the bomb of this deck. This is a card that should finish off your opponent really quick. And that makes the Legion Loyalist as well really important, because yeah, it makes sure that the damage goes over with Trample. And then we come to another important add-on. It's a quite okay card. It's the Mock War Marshal. It's a 1 red, 1 colorless. It has echo cost. We're never gonna pay unless we're late game and we're already ahead or whatever, but we're not gonna pay the echo cost. At least that's not the plan. When Mock Marshal enters the battlefield or dies, put a 1/1 red goblin creature token into the battlefield. So if this one comes into play, it creates a 1/1 red goblin token. What's so cool about this is this card produces as well 3 mana if you combine it with the Scourge Prospector. So basically it's for 2 mana, 3 mana. So really nice to have it in your opening hand with the Scourge Prospector. You can get the fatties out really quick. So 3 off in this deck. And then we come to another and the last 2-drop. It's the new, oh there we go, the CoCo Goblin, or however you pronounce that. It costs 1 red and 1 green mana, and it has Riot. Riot, really nice ability. This creature enters the battlefield with your choice of a +1/+1 counter or haste. Well, if you can drop this in your second turn, of course you're gonna choose for the haste, but if there's a little trick out there, you're gonna choose always for the +1/+1 counter on it. And with the little trick, I mean, I'll show you right now. We're gonna try to give all your goblins ASAP haste. We're gonna do that with at least 4 goblin chieftains. 2 red mana and 1 colorless. Haste, it has haste by itself. Other goblin creatures you control get +1/+1 and have haste. So we're running only goblins in this deck, and this card gives all your goblin cards haste. So yeah, there you can already smell it. If this is in the battlefield and you play after an CoCo Goblin, you're gonna choose for a +1/+1, and this is suddenly a 4/4 for 2 mana. And you can swing with it directly. So a really nice Goblin Chieftain, a 4-off. It's a key card in this deck. Same for the Goblin War Chief, a 4-off, 2 red mana and 1 colorless. Goblin spells you cast cost 1 colorless less to cast. Goblin you control have haste. So as well, this gives all your goblins haste. You need to try to get these goblins fast into the battlefield ASAP for this strategy. So for example, if you start turn 1 with a Cavern of Souls, slam in for example your Scourge Prospector, and then second turn you've got another land, or you perhaps have a Mock War Marshal, and sacrifice all your tokens to get this one out as fast as possible. At least that's the plan. And why War Chief and Goblin Chieftain is so important, I will show you later. Goblin Rebel Master. We have got a 4-off, really awesome goblin. It costs 1 red mana and 2 colorless. Other goblin creatures you control attack each turn if able. It doesn't really matter. We're gonna fix this. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put a +1/+1 red goblin creature token with haste onto the battlefield. Whenever Goblin Rebel Master attacks, it gets +1/+0 until the end of turn for each other attacking goblin. So it's a really nice goblin to put out there because it creates tokens, plus it gets +1/+0 for every other attacking goblin. And then the Legion Loyalist is again very important to spill over the extra damage, the extra +1/+0 counters it gets from other attacking goblins. So Legion Loyalist, very important with the Rebel Master and with the Pile Driver to spill over the damage. And then we're gonna come to an enchantment, and it's a really awesome enchantment. It comes as well from the new Ravnica series, Rhythm of the Wild. 1 red, 1 green, 1 colorless mana. Creatures you control can't be countered. So basically we've got 3 extra cards that make sure that your Gobos can be countered next to the Cavern of Souls. Well, we've got a 3 off. You could run 4, but it's dangerous if you have too many of them in your hand. So I choose to have 3 off. Creature spells you control can be countered again. Non-token creatures you control have Riot. So suddenly all your creatures you cast have the choice to be hasty or get a +1/+1 counter on it. It's your own choice. Of course, if you've got a lot of creatures already with haste, you're gonna give them +1/+1. So if you've got already a Chieftain, it becomes a 3/3. Skur Prospector becomes a 2/2, whatever. It's a really amazing card to add on this deck. And why it is so important, it's because we've got a little secret in our deck. An instant is the Collected Company. It's a really good card. It costs 4 mana, 1 green, 3 colorless. Look at the top 6 card of your library. Put up to 2 creature cards with converted mana cost 3 or less from among them onto the battlefield. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. So we don't have got any creatures here that cost more than 3 mana. So you can cast anything that you pull out. And if you've got already a Rhythm of the Wild on the battlefield, it's gonna be an explosive turn, I promise you. If you need to create blockers or you want to have an explosive attack phase, it doesn't really matter. Collected Company 4 off, really good card in this deck. So suddenly your board becomes really overwhelming. And to add on, I've got this Planeswalker, the Domri Chaos Bringer. The +1 ability, either 1 red or 1 green mana to your mana pool. It's spent on a creature. If you spend it on a creature, it gets Riot as well. So basically you have 4 times the chance to create Riot next to the goblins itself on your creatures. So really nice. And then the other abilities, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal up to 2 creature cards from among them and put them in your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. So it's as well a mini Collected Company, perhaps, because yeah, you can search for a creature card. Really nice. And the -8 or the emblem is, you get an emblem at the beginning of each end step. Create a +4/+4 red and green beast creature token with trample. So really nice as well. Too bad it's a token because it doesn't work with the Rhythm of the Wild, but it's a nice add-on to this deck. And then of course, very obvious, if you're playing red, you're gonna play Lightning Bolts to make the way free for your goblins, or to remove an Planeswalker perhaps, or even better, to finish off your opponent. So basically this is the upgraded version of the Collected Company goblins, the CoCo Gobos. Yeah, and let's switch to the sideboard. And then we come to the sideboard of the Gruul Goblin deck. Of course, a lot of grave activity is going on in the Modern at the moment. We have got Tormund Script 2 off. It costs 0 mana. Sacrifice Tormund Script. Remove target player's graveyard from the game. I don't know how it's in your local game store or your area, what the meta currently is, but where I'm playing, 2 Tormund Crypts is perfectly fine for now. Otherwise, of course, you can choose more cards, but I think where I play Magic, this is correct. 2 Tormund Crypt, cost 0, sacrifice it, and the target player exile the graveyard from the game. Easy card. Yeah, not too much time to spend on. And then a deck that is really overflowing our meta. It has even won the biggest modern tournament in Holland last time. Is Tron. Tron, yeah. To shut down Tron, I've got 1 Alpine Moon, costs 1 red mana. As Alpine Moon enters the battlefield, choose a non-basic land card name. Of course, we're gonna choose Urza's Tower. Land your opponent controls with the chosen name, lose all land and ability, all land types and abilities, and they gain at 1 of tap at 1 mana of any color. Really cool card, costs only 1 mana, so you can get it out there fast. A one-off. And then I've got 2 dampening spheres as well. If a land is tapped for 2 or more mana, it produces 1 colorless mana instead of any other type and amount. Each spell a player casts costs 1 colorless mana more to cast for each other spell the player has cast this turn. So basically it is really good via Tron and Storm, so you're hitting 2 flies with 1 blow, as we say in Holland. That's expression in Holland. So yeah, a sideboard card that hits 2 decks. One big downside is it slows you your own deck as well, our deck, down. So you might consider not to play this and play 2 Alpine Moons instead. But as well, via Storm it's really amazing, so I choose to have 2 of these. Tron and Storm are really favorite here where I play Magic. And then we're gonna come to the life gain decks. They're really good via our deck. They can gain life fast. So I've got 2 Leyline of Punishments, 2 red mana, 2 colorless mana. If Leyline of Punishment is in your opening hand, you may begin the game with it onto the battlefield. Players can't gain life, damage can be prevented. Really cool card. I really love this card, especially vs life gain decks. So where you don't have got any option to gain life. So really good to put it in there. And if you're facing a life lane of a life gain deck, it's not that bad to try 1 mulligan to get this at least. But don't do it more than 1 time, because then you can get in trouble. And then we're gonna come to a card that speaks against the Leyline of Punishment. It's Dragon Claw. Costs 2 colorless mana. Artifact, when a player casts a red spell, you may gain 1 life. So these 2 don't get together, don't fall for it. You can't play these at the same time because you cannot gain life as well. It's a really cool card vs a red burn spell of a dex. Yeah, it's basically shutting them down. And really cool as well vs burn is Goblin King. It's 2 red mana, 1 colorless. Other goblin creatures get +1/+1 and have Mountain Walk. So basically all your goblins can be blocked by a player that has mountains. One big downside is their creatures, if they're running goblins, they can be blocked by you as well. So keep in mind that you don't put this in your deck if you're facing another goblin deck. Although it can be fun, don't get me wrong, but it makes them unblockable as well. Plus it's totally legit because your collected company can hit Goblin King as well, because it don't exceed the 3 mana cost of this deck. So if it's red, we're using the Goblin King and the Dragon's Claw. And then we've got another awesome card, the Atarka's Command. It's an instant, it's a Gruul instant. It costs 1 red mana and 1 green. And you can choose 2 options of the 4. The first option is your opponent can't gain life this turn, really good as well vs life gain decks. And Atarka's Command deals 3 damage to each opponent. You may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield is the third option, and the fourth option is creatures you control get +1/+1 and gain reach until end of turn. So suddenly all your creatures can block creatures with flying. So Atarka's Command, a really cool card. Yeah, it should be in every Gruul modern deck. It's in the sideboard at least. And then we come to the artifact decks. For example, the Infinity. KCI is bye-bye. I'm very glad. That deck is really for people who want to exploit Infinity combos. So bye-bye, get out. Well, one Shattering Spree. It's a 1 red mana, destroy target artifact, but you can replicate it. So for another red mana, you can destroy another red or another artifact. And if you've got Skirk Prospector out and you're playing VS, for example, Infinity, you can just sacrifice your entire board and kill them all. And then we have got Smash to Smithereens. Destroy target artifact, smash to smithereens, deal 3 damage to that artifact's controller. I've got only 2 cards vs artifact. It might be a little bit low. Perhaps you can get another Shattering Spree or smash to smithereens and board out an Atarka's Command, but this is my choice. And then we've come to another cool card. I've got only one of it. It's a really nice card. It's Fecundity. Whenever a creature is put into the graveyard from play, the creature's controller may draw a card. Now, this is a really amazing card. You can even put 2 in your sideboard if you would like. I've got only 1, especially if you're playing a mid-range match and you need to jump block, or you've got an opponent that really likes to board wipe. You can refill your hand. So it's a really nice card to add in this deck. So after board wipe, you've got a full hand again. And of course, if you're sacrificing your goblins for mana with Skirk Prospector, you can draw cards. So 2 off is really not that bad. You can even main board it. It really fits in this deck as well. So this was the sideboard. There are some other options you can may consider, so as for example the Song of Free Allies, to get your stuff faster out as well. But that's just an option. There are a lot of options, but this is my sideboard, how I like to play it. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think of this deck. Let me know how you would improve it, and well, I see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.